So I'm a big data solutions engineer at Google, and I specialize. I'm working in under GCP in Poland. Many people ask me if I'm working at headquarters. No, well, I'm not working at headquarters so far. I'm working at in Poland under EMEA region. So I specialize in data flow and Composer. These are the two main products that I'm working on right now. Why? Because these are very hard and I like to make my life miserable with hard things, so just difficult things. And that's the thing that I started with. And that's just a random third fact about me that nobody really asked for. It's just a picture in Paris, and after this picture, I lost my mobile, so that's why I wanted to add this fun fact about me. So let's just, all right. So the main agenda today is like we are going to go through my background experience, my professional and my education experience, and then we'll go through the interview process at Google. What are some of the tips that I want to give to the audience, and how, and we can go through life. If we have time, we can go through life at abroad and Google. So it might seem a little bit narcissistic at first. Like when I was creating these slides, I thought, okay, I'm talking way too much about it. But this could be a really nice motivational quote, like work hard enough so that people will pay and join sessions to listen to you talk about yourself. Okay, so just bear with me. Next is uh, yeah, so my university education. Not a lot of people know, but I am not originally like I was born in Lahore, but I'm originally from South Kawal. That is the southern end of Punjab, and I was from there. Growing up, I did my middle, my matriculation, my FSC from there, and yeah, then I joined PUCIT. I joined the SC degree. So like most of the time in South Kawal, we didn't have much resources, so I was always on the I always knew that I had to get scholarship in order to get a good university, and that's what I did. Luckily, I got scholarships throughout my life, and I entered university in PUCIT. So you might also think that she's working at Google and she might be a gold medalist in university. Oh, she might be really good at competitive coding. Well, let me burst your bubble, okay? No, I wasn't. I was a pretty average student in university. The thing is, like, not a lot of people knew about me in university. I was a pretty average student there. Not a lot of teachers knew about me either. And that I think that time that really intimidated me. Like I had many good friends. They were really good at competitive coding, and they were really awesome. And I would get intimidated by that. And the reason why I'm sharing this stuff right here is because a lot of students might feel the same way in university. But let me tell you that just listen to me very carefully. Your university life doesn't dictate how you're going to end up in your professional career. Okay, as long as you're willing to put in effort in your professional career, your university life can suck a little bit. Okay, it doesn't matter. So like even if you're not into competitive coding and you see your peers that they are doing so well, it's perfectly all right. Let me just quickly check the chat messages because I'm okay. Yeah, it's just notification, sorry. Yeah, so as I was just saying that even if you're not good at comparative coding, you could be good at other things like freelancing, like open source work. There are many other opportunities that you can excel in. So just don't be intimidated by others. Grow just give feedback, grow up with each other, and don't put down each other. Maybe in some future, your one of your average peer might end up at Google, and you might need referral from them. So yeah, that's why. No, it's just human. Yeah, it's nothing personal. And yeah, so that's what I want to focus on. In your university education, you can focus on other things as well. No, it's not only compare. You just have to code enough to pass the interview. That's it. Okay. And I've seen many colleagues at Google who did open source work, who did freelancing, and they learned so much from it. And now they are at Google. So it's there are many other opportunities. And next, I want to focus on my professional background so that just a disclaimer. So I'm working as a big data solutions engineer at Google, and this is related to my own personal role. So it might not work for you because you might be applying for a different role like SWE or customer engineers, SRE. So I'm just mentioning this was my role and this was my professional background, and this really helped me to achieve this career. Initially, I totally had 2.5 to 2.5 years of experience before joining Google. And initially, I worked for 8 months at QMD. There, I worked as a backend developer in ASP.NET. I worked at Python programming, databases, and I self-initiated some of the automation projects there. And then later on, after 8 to 10 months, I joined Northbase Solutions. And that's where my career took off because I loved working at Northbase Solutions. I got to learn so much there. I got to learn about AWS, data engineering, cloud computing, DevOps, EDL pipelines. I got to work with amazing mentors there. I got to work with Shiraz Ahmed. I still remember, like, it was one of the best projects that I did with him, and I got to learn so much from that company. Let me tell you a fun thing that while I was working there, initially I got a really messed up review. It's nothing personal. It's just I don't know. At that time I wasn't really doing well in project, so my mentor gave me a really bad review. And in the very next project, I got the best review of my life. So the point that I'm trying to make is that there might come times in your life, like some ups and downs, where somebody will give you a really bad review, and that will make you question your abilities and your skills. So that's what I want to mention, that just don't let anybody's opinion dictate how you are and how you are going to do in your professional life. Okay, so just self-validation should come from within yourself, and you should focus on your career, your skills. Just don't let anybody else dictate how what you're going to do in your life. Your life is going to play out as you want it to be. Okay, so yeah, so after Northwest Solutions, I worked there for 7 months, I think 7 to 8 months. And even though I had a pretty compelling offer from a really nice company, I started working as a freelancer, full-time freelancer. Why? Because I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. I wanted to control what kind of projects do I want to work on. I wanted to take some risks. Okay, and as I always just believe that bigger risks will always lead towards bigger rewards. And you might think that, oh, she might be privileged and she's just like, maybe she doesn't support her family, and that's why she's saying, uh, for us, we support our family, we can't take such risks. But let me tell you, at that time I was the only breadwinner in my family, and I had my siblings who were studying, my parents, and I was supporting them. But still, this was something that I was really passionate about. At that time, I also wanted to start my own company, just a small companies, a few of my team members, and I wanted to control the things that I work on. And that was, I think, one of the best decisions that I made, because I got to work with so many bigger companies like good Carrefour, A1, Yeti, and so, there were so many projects, and I got to learn a lot. And I think that was the turning point that made my profile stand out in front of Google as well. So there were some other things that helped me out and to secure my interview at Google. First one was some of the open source work that I was doing. So I would always recommend do some open source work, like write some articles, or just maybe join some repository, or like Apache Foundation mentorship, or Google Summer of Code, or anything. Just do some open source work, because we all commit our work in our daily life in offices, but doing something outside of your daily life, outside of your office hours, is make you really stand out in front of these big tech companies. So yeah, I was partly doing that, and I also participating in tech events like Women Tech Community, where we would teach other women about cloud computing, maybe about scripting and some other languages, and just uplifting other people with us. So this was one of the biggest factor that made me stand out in front of Google. I believe so. And then comes the self-learning part that should never stop, because your company might not give you all the opportunities, all the learning opportunities that you want. So just spare some time in your spare time, and just start self-learning. And one thing that I really want to focus on: don't just complete courses by courses and do certification. No, that's not just it. Just learn just enough so that you can start a project in it. Maybe get some freelancing project, maybe just get some outsourced projects or anything, or get some professor to give you a project or research project. So learning should not only theoretical, it should always include practical work as well. And that's how you learn. That's what I recommend to all of my friends as well. Just And yeah, one of the most important thing is self-assurance. This is the thing that I feel quite lacking in our community, because when Google reached out to me, I was also like, oh, they are just reaching out to me, I won't get into Google. It seemed so far-fetched, but let me debunk this myth. It's not that far-fetched. Okay, I know it's hard to get into Google, but it's not something out of really ordinary. It is completely doable. Why is it that in our neighbor countries, so many of them are going into Google and we are not? I know that there are some other restrictions as well, but still, if we try, like we should also try this. It's not that much of a far-fetched dream that nobody can get into Google. It is quite achievable if we start working towards it. And yeah, so just self-assurance is quite necessary. If you subconsciously start working towards something, 50% of the work is already done. And the next thing is, yeah, I think this is the thing that everybody's been waiting for, and we already have 4 minutes, so I need to complete this quickly. The interview rounds. So these were my interview rounds. And so the first one was the phone screen round, that includes that is the basic screening round. It can include anything. It can also include coding problems. It can also include general programming concepts, web development, networking questions. It can include anything. And one thing that I really want to focus on, people really sell comparative programming and coding, but they also need to focus on other aspects of being a good software engineer, like OS, like system design, distributed system, OS, DBMS. There's so many SQL. There are so many other things as well that make you a really good software engineer. So if you are someone who has focused on these things, that would really make you stand out in front of interviewer. So yeah, do focus on other things as well. Okay, just don't. These are really important. And then my first interview, after I cleared my phone screen, it was related to coding problems, debugging, SQL, Python, and all those things. And then on my on-site interviews, it was a virtual interview, by the way. Yeah, I didn't go on-site. Okay, don't get too excited. Yeah. So my on-site interview, it was the first one was the system design interview. It's where they ask about all the system design concepts like streaming, batch pipelines, data warehouses, and there are so many. Like this is what I'm talking about. You don't need to assign. You need to start preparing for system design, because we use it in our daily life, but we don't focus on it as that much. And big tech giant companies, they really focus on system design. And the next is googliness. It's just to make sure that you're not some sociopath. And yeah, and the big data part, it was specific to my field. And yeah, so the questions were also specific to my role. And yeah, these are some of the tips that I want to give while you are applying to any big tech company, and especially Google. So when to apply? So the best time to apply is when you've learned just enough to code, so that you can pass the coding test. That's it. There's no magical time. There's no fairy in Cinderella, like she's gonna come up to you and say, okay, now you're prepared. Just give the Google interview. I have so many peers, colleagues, and I keep telling them, just apply to Google. Why aren't you are such a good candidate? And they're like, no, we are not ready. I'm gonna do this and that. The thing is, there's that time is never going to come. So just apply to Google when you feel like, okay, you can pass the coding test. All right. And yeah, you really need to focus on your resume as well. Just try to revise your resume. There are so many tips that people have shared on LinkedIn. Google has shared on their own channel, so you can check that out. You can ask someone to review your resume, someone like me or anybody who's experienced. And yeah, just apply. And also this thing that I want to mention again, not only coding, but you also need to focus on other aspects of being a software engineer, like communication and other, like, basic software engineering fields. Okay. So, and yeah, even if you get rejected, just repeat, because an average Googler at Google had to apply at least 2 or 3 times before getting hired by Google. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. Even if you get rejected, it's all right. And what is it? Yeah. So the next thing is life at Google. Yeah, it is nice. It is what they portray how it is. There are many facilities, and it's just amazing opportunities. You get to work with best people around the globe. People who basically created Go language. They were who created Linux operating system. So many other things. Like it's amazing that you get to work with them. So these are some of the things that about Google that I keep sharing on my Instagram as well. So I'm not publicizing it. If anybody wants to follow, they can follow, and then they'll know about Google and what is it like at Google. And I know, can I just take one more minute, and I'm going towards my ending notes.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure.
yeah, because my timer just ended. Okay.
No
Yeah.
worries.
So thanks. So these are some of the ending notes that I want to mention is I know like everybody's got insecurity in our region. We are mostly thinking that we will not get into these big giant companies, and that's the point where we don't even apply. So so I just want to mention that uh, nothing in life is worthwhile until you take risk. Okay, you have to come out of your comfort zone. You like once you remain in your comfort zone, that's when you have signed up your death release. And just keep on learning, and even if I read this somewhere that once you're on your deathbed, all your potential ideas, all your potential dreams are going to come around your bed, and you will be watching them. Or these were so many things that you could accomplish and you didn't, because you didn't try and you didn't take the risk. So this is one of the most crucial thing that I would recommend. Even if you end up getting failed at something, it's still something, like you are getting some experience out of it. And sometimes failure is the way to figure out which path of life you're going to take. So yeah, this is the most important thing in your life. And if you want, I'm always happy to help. I feel like I feel so happy, and I really appreciate this, Tuala, that I am at a position that now I can inspire or maybe help other people, because I owe it to all of those people, all of those women in South Kabul who didn't make it. And now I want to like, I want to create a platform for all those who want to pursue their dreams, their goals. And it's really nice. So if you have if you want to share any ideas, if you want any kind of guidance, I am always one step away. But the thing is, I always not reply on time because there's so many messages. But yeah, I'll try my best to reach out to you as soon as possible. And yeah, so even if I'll just say at the end of the day, be encouraged, take chances, and hope I'm really hoping to see you all on the other side at Google. That's just the end of my talk. Peace out. It was a Q&A, all right?
Yes.
New and old one. Yeah, so shoot.
Please to mention some tips on how to easily get your CV screened, the first step of the application process.
Yeah, I think yeah, I wanted to cover that as well. So a lot of the times people get disappointed when they don't when they apply for any job at careers at Google, and they don't hear any response. Mostly because their resume, it might have some problems. Like first of all, you just follow like a decent, elegant format. You don't have to follow any out of the box design format, because on the back end they are bots screening that. And if you have if the format is quite simple, then it would be easier to fetch these keywords and all of that things. Okay. And yeah, if you are not able to get through that screening process, maybe try to get in touch with recruiters on LinkedIn. Just don't bombard them right away. Maybe politely ask them through a connection request, and then ask them that you are applying for this, and it would be nice if you like if you could apply for this job. Look for such recruiters, and don't bombard them right away. Yeah, just reach out to one recruiter at a time. And even if that doesn't work out, you can always, I think it's a secret, but yeah, you can always ask someone, not ask, basically work with a Googler and show your potential, show your projects that you're passionate about, and ask them if they would like to refer you at Google. And I think they would be more than happy to, if they know you personally. And that would really, I think that would just end the first screening process, and you will be able to reach the first interview process step. So that would be easier, I think. And any other thing? No, I think that is the easiest way to maybe apply. Yeah.
So yeah, just I had the last question, Shafiqa. How would you encourage the audience, to get them out of their comfort zone? Thanks to COVID, I would say a lot of people, they have learned a lot, but there are a lot of people जो कि सिर्फ बस रेस्ट ही कर रहे हैं और कुछ नहीं कर रहे. So what would you suggest them?
Yeah, I think maybe sometimes there are some family's restriction, like you are I know, I get that. I also come from the same background where people from like us, like middle class families, we have families to support and we can't just take risk, right? Or so maybe take calculated risk, like what I started. So I started working as a freelancer while I was in maybe I should have mentioned that. Because, yeah, but I was a freelancer back in from university, so I had something to fall back onto always. It wasn't like I always have one revenue in stream. So that's how I started, and maybe just invest some time, some spare time into learning some projects and make a profile, get some outsourced projects from any freelancer, and invest some time, and that way you will also be learning and earning at the same time, and that is a very nice motivation. And once you feel like that you're getting enough projects, maybe 2 to 3 projects from your freelancing profile, or you've set up enough team, just maybe I think it's a nice opportunity for you to try out new things. And even if not just freelancing, you could be doing anything else, like apply to different companies, go through interviewing process. So I feel like not a lot of people don't even go through interviewing process because they feel like, no, we are not switching, so why should we? Because it's a nice so I used to go through some interview process anyway, even if I wasn't switching, because it would just give me the idea, okay, what's the industrial standard, and how people, what are the interviewing questions that people are really focused on, what are the things that I need to focus on, so that if I get interviewed ad hoc basis, I will be prepared anyway. So rather than just yeah, it would be easier to switch to any other job when you require. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shafiqa. Thank you so much.
No worries. It was my pleasure joining this talk, and have a nice day.